Blackstone Audio presents Gangster Government, Barack Obama and the New Washington Thugocracy by David Freddoso. Nire hatza schwenzat, es nikeat es Davide, Shara. Forward by Michael Barone. We have just seen an episode I wrote in a May 5, 2009 column in the Washington Examiner of Gangster Government. The subject of the column was the Chrysler bankruptcy package that was being hammered out by White House advisors Stephen Ratner and Ron Bloom. Ordinarily, in bankruptcy, secured creditors, those who lent money only on the contractual promise that if the debt was unpaid, they'd get specific property back, are paid off in full before any payment goes to unsecured creditors. But in the case of Chrysler, the Obama administration insisted that Chrysler's bondholders, who were secured creditors, would get only about 29 cents on the dollar, while United Auto Workers retirees, who were unsecured creditors, would get about 50 cents on the dollar. More than that, Barack Obama made a point of referring to the bondholders as speculators. And one of the bondholders' lawyers claimed that his client was directly threatened by the White House, in essence, compelled to withdraw its opposition to the deal under threat that the full force of the White House press corps would destroy its reputation if it continued to fight. An odd threat. Except that Ratner is widely known to be one of the best friends of the publisher of the New York Times. This was a case of the White House transferring the property of one group of people to another group to which it owed political debts. The UAW has long been one of the Democratic Party's strongest supporters, and labor unions contributed $400 million to Democratic campaigns in the 2008 cycle. Those contributions apparently paid off. Some may consider this an isolated episode. Others may point out that it's possible to identify episodes of gangster government in previous administrations of both political parties. But as I predicted at the end of my May 2009 column, this was part of a continuing series for two reasons. First, under the Obama administration, the federal government became intertwined with the private sector in unprecedented ways. It owns large shares of two large auto companies and what was one of the nation's largest insurance companies. It extended enormous loans to the nation's largest banks. The administration's defenders can point out, accurately, that some of these measures were initially taken in circumstances of financial emergency during the Bush administration. But that administration was not responsible for actions taken after January 20th, 2009. The second reason that this administration seems unusually inclined toward gangster government is the philosophy of its leader. When asked what he looked for when choosing a nominee for the Supreme Court, Barack Obama said he wanted someone who understands justice is not just about some abstract legal theory, but someone who has empathy. In other words, judges should decide cases so that the right people win, not according to the rule of law. The president himself taught law at the University of Chicago. But his principles seem to be conducive to the kind of gangster government the city of Chicago has from time to time experienced. But let the facts speak for themselves, as assembled and presented by my Washington Examiner colleague, David Freddoso. As in his 2008 book, The Case Against Barack Obama, The Unlikely Rise and Unexamined Agenda of the Media's Favorite Candidate, Freddoso is self-confessedly not a partisan of the president. But he is also a fine reporter who respects the facts and refuses to draw unwarranted conclusions. He understands that people